Pastor Enoch A. Adeboye, in The Holy Spirit in the Life of Peter, explores the remarkable transformation that occurred in the life of the Apostle Peter through the ministry of the Holy Spirit. This book serves as both a biographical and spiritual study, using Peter's journey as a template for Christian growth, empowerment, and divine usefulness. Pastor Adeboye shows how the presence and power of the Holy Spirit radically changed Peter from an impulsive, fearful man into a bold, effective, and spiritually powerful leader. Chapter 1, The Man Called Peter, introduces Peter as a relatable, ordinary man, a fisherman with flaws, describes his impulsiveness, lack of education, and spiritual shallowness before Christ's ascension, shows how Jesus still chose him, proving that divine purpose doesn't require human perfection. Key lessons: God sees potential where others see failure. Calling is by grace, not qualification. Reflection questions: what are some weaknesses you think disqualify you? How does Peter's early life encourage you? Chapter 2, Peter's failures and weaknesses, details Peter's human errors, fear, denial of Jesus, misunderstanding of Christ's mission, overzealous actions, cutting the soldier's ear. Pastor Adeboye emphasizes that God uses failures as foundations for greatness. Key lessons: even spiritual leaders can fall, but must rise again. God uses brokenness to build strength. Reflection questions: have you ever failed spiritually? How did you respond? Are you willing to be reshaped by God? Chapter 3, Pentecost, the Turning Point, focuses on Acts 2. Peter receives the Holy Spirit and becomes bold, preaches one sermon, and 3,000 souls are saved. Marks the beginning of Peter's transformation from fisherman to fisher of men. Key lessons: the Holy Spirit brings clarity, courage, and conviction. Every believer needs a personal Pentecost. Reflection questions: have you received the baptism of the Holy Spirit? What difference has the Holy Spirit made in your life? Chapter 4, Peter in Power, the Spirit at Work, describes Peter post-Pentecost, healing the lame, Acts 3, bold before religious leaders, Acts 4, judgment against Ananias and Sapphira, Acts 5, miraculous prison escape, Acts 12. He is now walking in supernatural authority. Key lessons: the Holy Spirit empowers believers to operate in signs and wonders. God's power is not for show but for impact. Reflection questions: are you actively walking in spiritual authority? Do you believe God can use you for miracles? Chapter 5, Peter's Leadership and Wisdom. Peter emerges as the clear leader of the early church, offers counsel at the Jerusalem Council, Acts 15, resolves doctrinal conflict between Jews and Gentiles. Key lessons: the Holy Spirit gives wisdom for leadership and governance. True leadership begins with spiritual maturity. Reflection questions: do you seek the Holy Spirit's guidance in decision-making? What kind of spiritual leader are you becoming? Chapter 6, Peter's Character Transformation. Summary: Peter is now patient, humble, and wise, as seen in his epistles, 1 and 2 Peter. He teaches on humility, suffering, submission, and hope. This shows not just empowerment, but inner transformation. Key lessons: the Holy Spirit doesn't just change our gifts, He transforms our hearts. Character is as important as charisma. Reflection questions: has the Holy Spirit produced visible fruit in your character? Are you becoming more like Christ daily? Chapter 7, Lessons from Peter for Today's Believer. Summary: Pastor Adeboye summarizes Peter's journey as a pattern for modern believers. The journey includes a calling, failure and brokenness, encounter with the Holy Spirit, empowerment for service, maturity in character. Key lessons: every believer can be transformed like Peter. The Holy Spirit is available to all, not just apostles. Reflection questions: where are you currently in Peter's journey? Are you ready for full surrender to the Holy Spirit? Chapter 8, Hindrances to the Spirit's Work. Summary: discusses what blocks the Spirit's flow. Sin, pride, fear, disobedience. These quench the Spirit's fire and limit effectiveness. Key lessons: a pure heart and humble spirit are needed for continual flow. Holiness fuels power. Reflection questions: what might be hindering the Holy Spirit in your life? What are you willing to surrender for greater use by God? Chapter 9, Becoming God's Vessel. Summary: final chapter challenges readers to seek the Holy Spirit earnestly, live a life of holiness, Be available for God's use. Peter's life proves that availability is greater than ability. Key lessons. God uses the surrendered, not the spectacular. The Holy Spirit is ready to use anyone who yields. Like and subscribe for more insightful and faith-lifting book summary. For more depth of this book, do well to get a copy today.